this classes, we're going to take a break from HTML code and we're going to focus on web typography. Sounds exciting? I really like to apply Google Fonts on my website, so let's see how we can do it. What I need to do is I'm opening fonts google.com website and I'm looking for the fonts that are used in my project. There are two fonts. The first one is Inknut that are used for the headings. It's Inknut Antica. So what I can do is I click plus, so select this font, and I have the panel that shows me that the font is selected. And I also have another font which is called IBM Plex Mono. So this is the text I use for the body. I click plus icon as well, and I see that two families are selected. Google Fonts gives us the instruction how we can embed the font that we used on the website. The good news is that we have plenty of them, so we can select various options and various typefaces, and they're for free and are hosted on Google servers. So the standard option of embedding the font is to use the code here. It's a piece of HTML tag called link, which you already applied in your website while linking styles. And you can also embed fonts using CSS import. But I would prefer to stick the first one, so let's copy it and paste the code into the head section of your HTML document. So it means that we're going back to Atom. We're in our HTML document, and I'm going to the very top to the head section of my file. So I have head section, and under the link tag that I already have with styles.css, I'm doing the new line and pasting the whole code I copied from Google Fonts. I'm saving it, and we're almost ready. So the thing that we need to do right now is to actually create CSS that will we need to create CSS that will apply the fonts that we picked to the given elements of the website. So let's open CSS, style CSS. It's going to be displayed in the new column. Actually, we haven't written any lines of CSS code, so it's going to be our first one. So the thing is, if we look under our project, that we have Inknut Antica, so this is this one, the kind of the decorative serif font that it's applied to the headings, the list here, and that's it. IBM Plex Mono typeface appears everywhere except for the places where Antica comes. So we can do this in such a way. I'm going back to Atom and writing that the whole body means the whole website will have Antica, will have IBM Plex Mono. So let's get back for a while to Google Fonts and see how we can specify our fonts in CSS. These are the rules, the CSS rules that we can apply to our CSS document. This is font family property with Inknut Antica, and this is where IBM Plex Mono. So I copy the last one because I want to use IBM Plex Mono for the whole body of my website. So I'm pasting it. And it means that the whole text that appears in the body will have IBM Plex Mono. Let's refresh the page and see if the changes are applied. Yay, I have a new font ready. And this is totally different from Times New Roman, and this is for sure IBM Plex Mono. If we navigate on any of the element, we can see that font family IBM Plex Mono is applied. If I comment it out, you will see that it gets back to the default font, which is Times New Roman. All right, but I also mentioned that in the project, we have Antica used for all the headings and the list. So let's apply it in CSS. So H1, H2, and the list that appears here under the navigation, which is this one, have Antica. So for now, I'll write UL-li. So we can write the same style for multiple HTML elements, and we can divide them using colon. So we've got the same style apply for H1, H2, and all the elements of the list UL. So I'm on Google Fonts, and I see that this piece of code would apply include Antica in my web typography. So I'm pasting it for these selectors. I'm saving, refreshing the page, and see that the heading, the list underneath have include Antica applied. Unfortunately, I also have this font applied to navigation. If I compare this with my project, I will see that here I used IBM Plex Mono. So how we can differentiate these two lists? Do you remember CSS classes? I hope you do. So let's apply them. Let's create CSS class. For instance, we can create a class for this list and called it the skills list. So I have the class called skills list. It's the attribute in HTML, but I also need to add here in my CSS style sheet. So I'm creating the dot, which means class, and then the name. It's skills list. And I wanted to apply include Antica for this one. So I'm copy the whole line, saving it. And from here, I'll remove UL-li. It means that this font include will be no longer applied to UL-li, so all the elements of the list. So we can copy and save. I refresh, and now I can see that finally my whole navigation is in IBM Plex Mono, and the list under the navigation is in include Antica. So just like in my project. To make my code more clean and not repeatable, I will just copy this class, add a colon, paste the list, and remove the last selector. So this rule means that include Antica font will be applied to all H1, to all H2, and all the HTML elements that have class called skills list. So this is how we add Google Fonts on our website. This is how we import them into HTML document. So the first thing we need to add is the link tag, which has the URLs to specific fonts, and it's generated on the Google Fonts website. And the second thing is to apply CSS with the given rules mentioned on the website of Google Fonts. So please remember about these two steps. And of course, for your future projects, you can select fonts whatever you want. There are plenty of fonts on Google Fonts, so feel free to use whatever you want and whenever you like.